I'm Julia Kirby. My guest today is Charles-Edouard Bouet. He's the COO of Roland Berger, the Munich-based strategy consultancy, and he's the author of Light Footprint Management, Leadership in Times of Change. Welcome, Charles-Edouard.
Thank you.
So you've been doing this really interesting thinking, taking current military doctrine and thinking about how it applies by analogy to the management setting. So why don't we start right there with the military doctrine? Why did the Army War College feel that they needed to rethink their whole approach to warfare?
I think in the 90s they coined the name VUCA.
VUCA.
VUCA, V for volatility. Initially it was for violence, but now it's volatility. U for uncertainty, C for complexity, not to mistake with complicated, complexity, and last but not least, ambiguity. And this is what they told the future generals the war will be in the future.
And still in the military sphere, what was the right response to that in terms of the military approach to a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world?
The interesting thing, it took many years for the military to coin the answer to this VUCA acronym. And they coined it into a word called light footprint, which I use in the book, which is the combination of different elements. The first one is the drones. We all heard about the drones, the unmanned machines, and to the extreme, the Singularity Project, which is about a machine which thinks. The second dimension is the fifth domain, with cyber warfare, with the use of data. And last but not least is the use of special forces, which is completely different than the specialized troops of the past.
Okay, so now let's apply this to business management. So you make the point that in the business realm as well, we have this VUCA, new VUCA threats in our competitive environment. What are the analogies really of special forces, drones, the other elements that you mentioned?
The first thing is we can all agree these days that the world is VUCA. If we had talked together 10 years ago, people have said, oh, the world is very predictable. But today, the world is VUCA. So I said that if the world is VUCA, then the answer of the military, and the history has proven that the military gives some hints to the future. I mean, they created internet, they created GPS, they created some of the things we are using today. Then it would apply to business. And the way it's structured in the light footprint management is three components. The first one is innovation. Like the drones, like the automation, companies have to digitalize, have to automate, and can use more the automation to get more powerful. The second element of the innovation is everything around the data. And in data, I would see two parts, the big data and the small data. It's very important for companies to use this. The second element is the organization, which is around agility and special forces. I'll come back to this. And the last but not least is the disposition, around openness, secretness, and the management of collateral damages, like in wars.
So let's talk about some examples of companies that you've seen that seem like they're doing something like light footprint management.
If I talk about openness and alliances, in the past, the cost of transaction between companies and humans was quite important, and therefore we tended to buy companies and recruit people inside. In the 2000s, the cost of transaction becomes zero. With high technology, with the ability to exchange data, it could be seamless to be inside or outside. I push the point that since 2010, the cost of transaction has become negative. And I'm going to give you an example. One of our clients is in the drilling of tunnels. So his job is to drill tunnels all over the world. And to make money, he has to be as fast as possible. And to be fast, you need to manage all the problems you will encounter in the tunnel drilling. And therefore, you need to accumulate a lot of knowledge. They found out that there's a group in France, in Asia, in America, of people who, in the evening and the weekend, their hobby is to look at drilling since many years ago, and what are the problems and how to solve them. These people are paid by third parties, and this is their hobby. And our client has been teaming up with them, and since then, he's been able to go much faster in the drilling, much more efficient, with a cost which is negative because these people don't belong to his organization.
So what's becoming clear is that a lot of companies that today are managing according to some conventional, traditional approaches are going to have to change a lot about their approaches. But what about companies that are startups now? Are they going to be invented along some new model?
Exactly. The same way the military will have to shift from the tanks and the heavy equipment to more technology and more special forces, the people starting today, I call them the LFP native, will use the technology, the human power, and all the predisposition I mentioned. And I can give you a few examples. ARM, which is a technology semiconductor company, they were able to reach 95% of the equipment of a mobile phone by having this alliance system, this light footprint approach. They are 1/50 of Intel, and they are a very successful company with a network of 1,000 allies they nurture. That's one example. In France, the telecom business, a mobile operator, Free, decided to price the product, get into the market in a very light footprint way, no asset, and now after 1 year they've reached 7.5% of the market share. So we will have a lot of LFP native coming in, and it's very important for conventional companies, conventional armies, to prepare and shift to adapt to the new light footprint world.
Charles-Edouard, thank you so much for sharing your thinking about light footprint management. This has been fascinating.
Thank you.